Hi there and welcome back to Safiyya Traders Bookstore's weekly book introduction, and this is Samil. This week we are going to bring to the limelight a book of great historical significance. The title of the book is The Four Imams, Their Lives and Works. The Four Imams, Their Lives and Works. Actually, this book is a compilation of four individual books that deals exhaustively with the lives and works of the four Imams who founded the great canonical schools of Islamic fiqh, written originally in the Arabic language by Muhammad Abu Zahra. I think most of you are familiar with Muhammad Abu Zahra, one of the great Egyptian scholar and theologian, Muhammad Abu Zahra, and only later on it was presented in translation to the English speaking readers for the first time, to give the English speaking English speaking readers for the first time an in-depth analysis of the lives and works of these four pivotal figures of Islamic history. So such a work is long overdue in the English language. So I hope, presumably speaking, this book would have already done the job by filling in the vacuum. But for those of you who are unaware, who are unacquainted with the contents of this book, I wish and I hope that as you move through the pages of this book, it will never hesitate to present to you a more rigorous historical picture of these four Imams, their lives and works. The first part is about Imam Malik ibn Anas. Imam Malik spent his entire life in Medina. He lived in Medina, where most of the Quran was revealed and much of the legal practices of Islam established. Imam Malik spent his life studying, recording, and clarifying the legal parameters and precedents that had been passed down to him by those two generations of Muslims who had lived in Medina since the Prophet ﷺ's death, and therefore inevitably they become the inheritors of the purified form of Islam. This book not only deals with the biographical details of Imam Malik, but also puts it in its historical context, and most importantly it shows us the methods Imam Malik employed in reaching his legal conclusions, and which played a pivotal role, a vital part in preserving that exact legacy of divine guidance left by the Prophet ﷺ and his companions. The second part explores both the fiqh, the Islamic jurisprudence, as well as the life and times of Imam Abu Hanifa. Imam Abu Hanifa, it is said, it has been recorded that he allegedly met the companions of the Prophet ﷺ and is therefore counted among the tabi'in, the followers of the companions of the Prophet ﷺ. Imam Abu Hanifa is renowned for his piercing intellect as a faqih, his scrupulousness and integrity of character, and his resoluteness in the face of oppression. So, taking all these things into account, it becomes an indispensable read for every Muslim, the life and times of Imam Abu Hanifa. Not only that, his school of thought, with its association with the Abbasid and Ottoman Caliphate and the Mughal rule in India, his school of thought is the widespread among all the other schools of thought. So this makes this study particularly important for the English-speaking Muslims, since it gives them an in-depth appreciation of the school of thought followed by the great majority of the Muslims in the West. The third part deals with Imam Shafi'i, his life and works, the life and works of Imam Shafi, Muhammad ibn Idris Shafi, popularly known as Imam Shafi. Imam Shafi is remarkable in that he resolved the different strands of opinion that had emerged from the still evolving Muslim community and had brought them together in probably the most brilliant legal synthesis of the whole history of mankind. So the author Muhammad Abu Zahra looks at his life, he traces the development of his thought, he speaks about his teachers, his followers, and he shows us how the system he devised grew out of the intellectual and political currents of his time. Not only that, he also gives us an in-depth historical analysis of the various movements and sects that formed the background of the Islamic world in which he lived. The fourth part, and of course the last part, deals with the life and works of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal. Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal is chronologically the last of the four Imams who lived just after the first three formative generations of the Islamic community, thus facing a slightly different situation from that faced by his illustrious forebears, his three illustrious forebears. So this necessitated a fresh approach to legal issues, arising out of the situation of rapidly expanding urban development and the imperial form of government that had become the day-to-day reality of Muslims, so much Muslims of that time. So Muhammad Abu Zahra elucidates in detail all of these features, and he shows how Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, with his personal integrity and his scrupulous adherence to the tradition of the Prophet, was able to chart a course through the stormy period in which he lived, and how his example provided his followers with the legal basis of what had later became the Hanbali school of thought. Okay, we are being done with, and I would like to end my introduction with a few concluding statements. For the first time in the English language, we have this comprehensive, in-depth analysis of the four Sunni madhabs, the four Sunni schools of thought and their founders, the lives and works of their founders. And this work is particularly important and relevant today, where we see hundreds of thousands of Muslims in a situation. They find themselves in a situation where there is no traditional allegiance to a particular madhab, a particular schools of thought, which means they are trying to find a common ground whereby they are trying to exercise their duties together. They are trying to perform their obligations, their mandatory duties together, regardless of the different schools of thought from which they come from. More frequently, we find nowadays adherents of all the four schools of thought praying together in one masjid. And so this is a constructive development, of course, which symbolizes the unity of Muslims in a time when the enemies are trying to play the sectarian card. They are trying to sow the sectarian seeds among Muslims, sow divisions among Muslims. So this book, in these circumstances, this book is an indispensable read for every Muslims. The Four Imams, their lives and works by Muhammad Abu Zahra. For orders, contact Safiyya Traders Bookstore, Nagarkoil, Tamil Nadu.